been, I think, virtually fascinated by Jordan Peterson in his shift over time towards the value of God, the notion of God. In particular, one YouTube recording that I have saved, where he's explicitly saying that he tries to act as believing in God. In other words, do what one should do if one does believe in God, from one's own understanding as such, I gather he means, of course. In other words, being true to oneself in that way, but realizing the value of trusting in God. Not necessarily, in a sense, being able to do it. And in fact, he's explicitly stating in that particular recording, echoing the notion that the only true Christian was Christ. The only one that did actually, in the story at least, I would say, lives up to the goal of trusting God, existing, in that his actions follow accordingly. And I think Jordan Peterson's view at this particular time, and probably has developed a bit from there since, is, at the least it's a very good idea to be pursuing such, though rather aware of not attaining it in some full degree, but doing what one can to act according to how one should act if you're trusting in God. Well, to contrast it in my mind with my own view, which is that I seek to be thankful to God for at the least all that is good, and to express it actively. And that this itself leads to a great desire to trust, and therefore a great desire to do, in effect, what Jordan Peterson's asserting is his position, to act according to trusting in God, at least according to the trust that one has. Now I see Jordan, of course, taking on the world political system, and a noble goal, but not our primary goal if you're armed with the notion that God rules. And my view that therefore he doesn't need me in his creation. He only uses me in his creation to bless me. He can save the world without me. But it's a blessing to me to be part of his care. So I respond in that I feel I should do any lesson that I truly feel he is putting before me, and I'm looking for his leading in that sense, but I'm not looking for work. My preoccupation is on my spiritual life, not my impact on the world, the world will, as far as I know, remain a mix of good and evil, because this is how God has it. I see God as omnipotent in that way. And therefore I trust, because of his benevolence, as I also understand it, I trust in what he's doing and why he's preserved this amazing mix of good and evil for so many thousands of years at least. That's as I see it. So I would be happier for Jordan Peterson's sake if he was less concerned about the war against political correctness and more at ease, therefore, and less distracted, so that he could, it sounds trivial by comparison, but it's not. I think it's cardinal, that he can contemplate the will of God in his life and feel the more God's presence. It's as if I see him crusading instead of contemplation. Let me pause. Devoting his life, dare I say, to his own spiritual needs. I want with all my heart for him to come closer to God. And I don't mean, as you know, I don't mean become Christian. I mean come closer to his God. And that's the great achievement, I think, of his life. I find him a fascinating man. I don't want to praise man too much, but I find in a sense he's a wonderful chap. And been such a blessing to so many people. And with all my heart, I don't want to see him go under in some Promethean battle. I want to say at this point, I so admire his integrity. I am impressed, yeah. I tend to love people, but I'm not impressed by that many in the way that I'm impressed with his courage. But I wish to goodness he had less courage. And just retired into, and I mean retired, I'm a retired man. Physically, culturally, I'm retired. I'm 76. And I love my retirement. The only major caveat, or whatever, the only major thing I would say is I personally would love to still be with a partner that loves me as I love her. But that's not so important to me in the greater picture of things, of the eternity I've embarked on with God. And I so want that for others, that the actual circumstances of their life are of so much less account than the love of God carrying them into eternity, life eternal. I so want this to be the reality of all people, and certainly Jordan Peterson no less than any. Bless him, Lord bless you. And I'm sure he does. Thank you.